For me, it was, breaking down barriers. Everything was gate kept for so long. Everything still is gate kept. I even had some experience like this past week. I was telling you guys about like stuff is gate kept, and sometimes it's not even intentional. You know, when you're dealing with brands, when you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with occupations, whatever you may be dealing with, man, if people want to keep you on the outside, if you're on the outside. Now, if you find a way to get on the inside, then, then we good. Then you just bring other people with you. People want to keep you on the outside if you're on the outside.
Some shit shouldn't happen, some shit you should do.
Like who at the top?
First, you always want to do all these things, right? But you also got to meet guys or girls, where they are.
I'm on the gram.
I do believe that you don't know what you don't know until you know. Number one thing, when you're in this space and you're dealing with these elite athletes or you're dealing with general population, remove your ego.
Welcome to the Untrained Podcast. Guys, this is the hub for everything that is health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, fashion.
You know how good you want to be. Do you want to do it casual? But I'm also not a casual trainer.
Wellness check, fellas. How y'all feeling, man?
Good.
Feel good?
Man, I got a haircut today.
Yeah, let me see it.
Saying legs out. You saying, feel me? Shit on the floor. Okay.
See them waves. Let me stop. Mine ain't. All y'all got these 360s.
No, not yet. Y'all gotta give me like,
my shit like
give me
180.
like another month.
My shit like 180.
Put your shit back on.
Give me like another month.
Man.
Nah, man, I'm feeling good, man. It's been a great year thus far. Feeling good, can't complain.
I know you in Combine right now.
Yeah,
so
in the thick of it. Live, currently.
Live,
It's
as we film right now.
happening live. So, them boys living out their dreams or trying to do their best that they can. So, we're going to see how it ends up.
We'll get into a little bit of your unfiltered thoughts on the
Yeah, we
combine.
are going to get into that.
So many
Unfiltered.
thoughts.
We don't need no corporate thoughts either.
I got so many thoughts on Combine. Even though it's my niche, I really don't even like doing it.
Oh,
yeah, we get into that. We get into that.
We'll get into that. We're going to talk about that. Curtis, what's going on with you?
Man, what's up, C's? What's happening, man? It's good to be back with y'all. Everything's good. Blessed. Just grinding. We got NFL off season. We got, we got some.
You got some shit popping in summer too, don't it?
Oh, yeah. This summer.
Yeah.
And then, this summer coming. So then that means the training starts now for that, But besides that, man, just been grinding, man. Just staying ready.
I'm sensing a common theme right here. We just grinding. Crispy Chris, what's up with you?
Grinding.
I'm not grinding that hard.
Every time I tell you, I just woke up from a nap. No, I'm joking.
No, naps are in my routine.
No, naps are part of your routine.
Like daily. I take a nap every day.
What time are your nap scheduled?
It depends. East Coast is about 2 o'clock. West Coast is about 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere around there.
I like that, man. It's the consistency.
I'm very consistent. I'm very routine, disciplined in my my naps. If you call me during that time, I'm not answering.
I hear that. And
he's
naps,
not answering.
He's not answering.
I would love to talk more about that. We're going to get into that at one point, all right? But welcome to the Untrained Podcast. I am your host, Amoila Cesar. I am here with 3 amazing world-class trainers. To my right, I have Kris Chrisp. I have Curtis Shannon. I have Morgan Wells. He didn't like that. Mo Wells, a.k.a. the big dog. Guys, this is the hub for everything that is health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, fashion, sports, naps, whatever it is, guys. We're going to talk about it. So today, I kind of want us just to introduce ourselves about how we got started, why we brought this podcast together, what's the goal of this, and then we can talk a little bit about wellness and just give some people some tips before we head out of here. So,
Absolutely.
guys, what is Untrained Podcast? What is that?
It's whatever you want it to be. It's whatever you want it to be, man. My 3 E's when we talk about this, that educate, empower, entertain, that's all I want it to be. And I think that encompasses so much when you talk about untrained, and even coming back on that word just a little bit. In anything in life that you think you know so much about, you really don't know shit. Like anything that you might think you're an expert on, there's so much more to know, learn, network, do stuff with. And I think that this will be something that encompasses all of that in our space. When it comes to wellness, strength and conditioning, physiotherapy, physical therapy, chiropractics, fashion, sports entertainment, celebrities, quote unquote. You know, I think it brings it all together.
Yeah, to Mo's point, I think when you just kind of tap in and dive deep into the word untrained, it's all about, you know, unlearning old habits, right? Being comfortable, being uncomfortable, breaking through barriers, right? Putting yourself in positions to where even though you feel a way where you're not sure or you don't necessarily feel confident or you don't necessarily feel like you know exactly what's going on, you're still gonna show up, you're still gonna rise to the occasion, and you're still gonna find a way to figure things out.
I like that. That's solid. That's solid. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
I practiced that in the mirror. I was trying to impress you.
I'm like, damn, he had this shit rolling.
I was trying to
that shit was smooth. You impressed me.
That monologue was tough, bro.
Yeah.
Scenes,
I got scenes. That's fire.
Now you gotta tell us a little bit about you and Untrained, man. What does that mean to you?
He just want to stir shit up.
Literally, it's
He said, I want to make a podcast to stir shit up.
You know, it literally is just a regulational platform for trainers and entrepreneurs and anybody within this performance space that's trying to do it. We're just going to add some parameters and guidance on how things should be done and how they should be conducted to optimize these athletes or clients' professions.
Yeah.
Like plain and simple. We're just gonna add boundaries. Like some shit shouldn't happen, some shit you should do. If you're doing some shit that is out of bounds, we're gonna call you out on it. We're not gonna necessarily call you, we're gonna call you out on it.
He's gonna call you out on it.
He gonna call you out.
I think Kris gonna call you out on this, guy. So the point of this podcast is, as you see, we all came here together just to talk about our origin of our stories and how we can go through whatever adversity. But the goal is to come out of that feeling confident as a trainer, feeling confident as an entrepreneur, feeling confident as a person. I think when you think about Untrained, to me, it just seems like an unorthodox way of how we all got here. I remember when you all called me and y'all were like, hey, it was Kris. Kris was like, yo, man,
Hey, bro, you want to do this thing?
putting up the podcast with some 4 dope trainers, man. And I keep saying 4.
Where's 2 at that point?
4. It's 4.
It was him plus 2.
You too.
I'm including myself. So I guess I should just say 3, but it's 4. And the point that I'm trying to say is that, you know, you brought this up, and when you brought it to my attention, I was like, man, this sounds amazing, because what this does is it shows, number one, diversity as well, but also we all have our own different background on how we got here. Like, Mo, I know you're in the corporate space, you're crushing it. I mean, we can go down the line about what you do. Curtis, I know you're also in the independent space, but you've also been in the corporate space. Same thing with you, Kris, you're in the independent space. And you all work with amazing, amazing talent, from professional athletes to entertainers. And I'm curious, man, like, how do you get to this position in life? And did you always feel confident that you were gonna be here? And what were some of your adversities as you were getting to this point in your life? And that's what I really want to learn a lot about.
Yeah.
That's good. That's powerful right there.
That's a, you know, and that's a strong way to intro this whole thing, because the how you got here and the why you got here. I think for me, it was, man, breaking down barriers. Everything was gate kept for so long. Everything still is gate kept. I even had some experience like this past week. I was telling you guys about, like, stuff is gate kept, and sometimes it's not even intentional. You know, when you're dealing with brands, when you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with occupations, whatever you may be dealing with, man, if people want to keep you on the outside, if you're on the outside. Now, if you find a way to get on the inside, then, you know, then we good. You know, then you just bring other people with you. But, you know, thinking about my journey, man, you know, I just wanted to be the best that I could be in my space. I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, and then I went to looked in ATC, and then I started the PT route, and all that shit was boring. I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to get rich until I'm like 40-something if I'm a surgeon. PT, I'm going to have to work with old people all day. Nothing wrong with old people. I have to work with geriatrics all day.
We love our people.
You know, ATCs didn't make no money, and we're going down the road talk about salaries and salary caps across all occupations because we know them all. So then I just fell in love with strength and conditioning along the way. It was a perfect blend. Now, did I think I'd get to this spot? Hell no. I was just trying to buy a boat or something. You know, shit.
You know, you can pop your shit real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of humble, and I love that. But tell us a little more about you and what you do.
Yeah, so, strength and conditioning coach, just like all of us, physiotherapist, as well as exercise physiologist by licensed trade, you know. And, man, I'd like to think of myself as the glue, though, bro. I hold shit together. On the management front, I have some athletes that I just train. I have some athletes that I've managed damn near their whole life. You know what I'm saying? Ins and outs. When I leave here, I'm going to go manage some other athletes in their endeavors. So with that being said, some of everything. So I think I have built a name in diversity, you know, from sport to sport. That wasn't intentional as well. At first, I wanted to bridge the gap between true strength conditioning and track and field and true speed development in football at an elite level. There was a gap. Me being at Louisiana State University, LSU, the greatest school in the country, if everybody didn't know. Me being there, you know. Okay. Yeah. Where'd you go to school again?
I went to Copper State, HBCU.
Oh, for real? I went to Morgan.
Talk to me.
Right down the road.
Talk to me.
That shit in Delaware, ain't it?
We in Baltimore, Maryland.
But regardless, man, I built a name in diversity, and like I said, I just wanted to bridge the gap, you know, and that gap was wider than I thought it was.
Extremely wide.
The gap was wider than I thought it was, and I really got into this space thinking, you know, you look up to a lot of people in this space, or any space, no matter what you do. When you look up to people and then you really get around folks, and if you are touched and if you're gifted in what you do, you see how little a lot of people know, unfortunately. It's like, damn, bro, I know I can't be this smart on these topics. I know there has to be people that are better at this.
It has to be.
It has to be. I can't be the pinnacle. So I think my whole career has been trying to work with the best athletes, you know, the best entertainers, the best of any sport, and then trying to educate myself and having that continued education also with some of the best minds in the world. You know, and in that, it's just made a name for myself, you know, through timing, you know, just not taking no for an answer. A whole lot of fucking no's. Ooh. A lot of no's. And rolling on.
So, Kris, you got to tell me, man, you had any adversity on your journeys?
Man, I feel like I had a lot of adversity, just like everybody else. You know, I wasn't like sleeping on couches or in the car like some people may have, but I definitely struggled through some adversity. But mine's more so have been like trying to find someone who can align me on the right path. Like it's like finding like a mentor or finding someone that I can actually call and talk to and like have either performance conversations with, or training stuff I could do with them, or financial conversation, how to start the business the correct way, or just how to make time for myself within this industry. So that's like been the main hurdle that I struggle with, for sure.
I guess that's what this is, iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
And we're all here to provide useful insight from a lot of our failures, but also to help people just navigate a lot better throughout this life. And so I know we all have our challenges, Curtis. I'm pretty sure you've had a deal of challenges as you were navigating through. Can you list some of that for us so we can get a better understanding of who you are?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like just the typical, you know, challenges that we all have like along the way, but just to, you know, be a little specific, you know, some challenges that I go through is like, or I've gone through is imposter syndrome, right? Or like just feeling like I'm not necessarily as qualified, right? Or just feeling like just because, you know, I didn't have the traditional kind of like come up, you know, in this space that, you know, that my work can be discredited at some point in some time. So what I do to kind of like combat that or to kind of get rid of that anxiety is I try to surround myself with like-minded people, right? I try to surround myself with people that are doing better than me in certain aspects or people that I admire in certain aspects, I just try to make sure that I always learn. Just always learn and just always prepare. So as long as I always learn, always prepare, and always, put my pride to the side and understand that some of these people that are in your life or you come across, it's not always competition. Sometimes those people are placed in your life to help you get to the next level, but you just gotta see that for what it is, Those are some of the challenges that I've gone through in the space from a personal level. And there's more, but I'll just keep it at that.
Okay.
I believe that was the reason for this Untrained podcast, is that we all are very egoless. Mm-hmm. Like when I was thinking about it, I wanted to do something with people that are impactful, right? Now, I'm not saying that we all are the best trainers that are out there, but we all have unique capabilities and things that a lot of people that don't possess. And when I looked at each one of you guys for, starting a group or a podcast, C's had a likability to him that's just he's very commercialized. It made it easy to talk about fitness and health when it came to C's. Mo is very branded. Mo is the marketing.
Oh, got swag, bro.
He got a lot of swag.
Man,
Just look at the drip already.
And this guy to my right, he's a scientist, man. He's very smart. He knows his shit to another level. That's when it comes to training, Curtis gets it. When it comes to branding and marketing, Mo gets it. When it comes to fitness and giving you a great motivating feel about it, C, he gets it. He can do that at a high level.
What do you do at a high level?
So I feel like I take naps really well.
You do.
If there's anything that I'm going through in life, I'm just gonna go to sleep.
3:30,
For the record,
4:30.
he also doesn't work past 1:30.
I don't.
Cut off. That's his cutoff time.
And you had a G-Wagon. Did we talk about that you had a G-Wagon or no?
We can leave that out. We
did.
We talked about it. I just wanted to remind everybody.
Every chance.
Anytime we say something that starts with G.
We haven't talked about C's. Let's talk about some of the challenges you face, Mr. TV, Mr. Bodi.
Oh, man.
Super trainer.
I think when I look at all of you guys and hear your story, I understand it completely. To the imposter syndrome, to gatekeeping, to just trying to learn and be the best that you can be, and also trying to expand and also have people around you where you learn and you get information, whether it's mental, maybe it's physical. I think we all go through that. And I always have this saying that rejection created my obsession. And so at a young age, I always felt rejected at something, right? And then I obsessed over it. I wanted to be great at it. I wanted to understand it. I wanted to communicate it very well. And so that started as a young age for me. And then when I got into the industry, I was I'm gonna get into the fitness industry. I went to school for it. And I was this is something I wanna do. And I had a lot of idols and I see a lot of people. And then when I first started, no one really was hey, hi, no one was friendly in the field. So I became obsessed with it. And I told myself that I'm gonna do the best job that I can do in front of everybody that's there. Whoever my clients are, I'm gonna do the best that I can do. And then from there, you go through these ebbs and flows of life. There's sometimes you wonder, am I good? Am I good at this? Or am I you call me super trainer, body trainer, whatever you wanna call me, right? I'm just a dude that's just trying to make someone better. But we all have our flaws. So I always go back and forth combating with that. But then as I started to grow deeper into my love and then grow deeper in loving myself, I know this ain't no therapy conversation.
It's always therapy.
Always.
But it is.
Always therapy.
It is something there. And once I was able to understand my truth and love myself, all of that started to dissipate. The imposter syndrome, the fear of not knowing enough, and the gatekeeping. I'm just so friendly with everyone. And so I just feel my internal world will always reflect that external world for me. So that's just kind of my story, guys. Appreciate you turning this around on me.
Do a good job at that.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around on y'all. All right, so we're here, and we're not here just to talk about ourselves, right? We want to leave something for you guys that you can take with you home. And I kind of want to talk about wellness, right? Like, what is the difference between training a professional athlete or training a mom or a dad that's trying to get ready for life, the sport of life? There's a difference in any of this, because this is a number one question I get asked all the time. And I basically train everyone the same, depending on their goals, right? We do the whole sheets analysis, movement analysis, all that stuff. But I am pretty much giving you philosophies that are very similar to professional athletes. And we all work with common people and professional athletes. So fella, let's leave this open right now to kind of talk about what is that protocol for you, and how do you help people see that they're an athlete?
I think
I'm biased, by the way.
Yeah, I think the best way to do it is to just treat everyone like a human body is a human body, right? Also, the difference between, of course, training professional athletes and like everyday person is, of course, the amount of time that they're able to spend, right? And the priorities. So sometimes, right, I might train someone who wants to, be a world champion, lightweight world champion, or train someone that wants to be the MVP of the league. It's all about just the priorities, about what it is. And then you just kind of look at just the human body just from a kind of a general perspective based on the goals. So you always want to start with building a base, right? For someone that is trained, you want to untrain them. So it's like building a house, right? You always want to start with the foundation and you start with the floor. So with that would be said, that would be, maybe correctives, GPP, things of that nature. And then you build on top of that from what they want. And in that early stage, it's pretty similar, just with maybe a little bit more things specific to their capabilities.
So what does programming look like? Let's kind of talk about that, right? So, because you talked about correctives, you talked about all of that, but how does that look for someone? So can I toss this off to you, Mo?
Sure.
So what does that look like? Okay. All right, so hey, I'm Jane Doe, I'm walking in. I just want
Jane? Ooh, Jane.
I'm Jane Doe. I could have went with John Smith, but I'll be Jane today.
Is it gender specific? Is Jane is a woman? Is a
Well, we're not getting down that path. We're not doing that.
It's gender fluid.
It's gender fluid.
We love everyone. So I'm Jane Doe, Mr. Jane Doe, and I'm coming in. I just want to be able to run a mile in a decent time, and I want to get rid of this belly fat. Like, what does that look like for me?
I believe that those two coincide, losing belly fat. First of all, I hope everybody knows abs are made in the kitchen. So if you don't eat right, drink right, sleep right, you're not going to get any abs. I don't care how hard you work out. So belly's going to be there.
That part.
I don't care how fast you run your mouth. But with that being said, I think you need a good strength base as somebody that's trying to get into endurance running before you get into a whole bunch of aerobic work, which is what most people do. They just try to go out there and run and then wonder why their feet hurt, or their knees hurt, or their back hurt, or their
COVID runners.
Chest hurt.
COVID runners.
You just want to get out there and run with no strength training. That's why they call it strength and conditioning. So for me, that's you have to do two of this. You have to do both. So in that GPP, like Curtis talked about, you have to do some type of circuit-based, we call it bodybuilding circuits to work on that. And then you work your way up, right? So if I'm doing some type of assessment with an athlete, somebody with a body, they're an athlete, I'm talking, okay, where are you right now? All right, have you run a mile? Have you even run a mile before?
No, sir.
Jane, you've never run a mile.
No.
Okay, so let's start by getting through 400 meters. We're gonna build our way up. So let's start by getting one lap around before, so it's like I always relate general population stuff to some type of professional sport, or when I try to relate basketball to football to track and field, I just try to relate some type of similarities. It's like if I have a guy coming in and try to get a faster 40-yard dash, I don't run him in 40-yard dashes the first day, right? He's gonna likely pull something because he hasn't been running at that max velocity for a whole lot of reps. So we start running 10s, we start running 20s, we start running 30-yard flies. And then we start getting into some over distance running. Same thing that you would do with Mr. Jane, Mrs. Jane, whoever you want to be.
I'm Mr.
As you get ready to run this mile. And then we talk about your nutrition as well. I believe in scope of practice to the fullest extent. So I give nutritional guidelines, and then I pass off to the RD, right? Who can give that full, that might want to do a food sensitivity test, depending on how serious you are about it. Some type of blood panel to see, okay, what do I need to eat? What do I not need to eat?
But why do I need to do all that? I'm like, why would I need to do that?
How good you want to be.
And that's really...
And not just in sport, in life, from cardiac risk, heart disease, guys, being old, out of shape, washed up, how good you want to be. Do you want to do a casual? But I'm also not a casual trainer. So if you want to do casual fitness, then Mr. Jane, I'm not the guy for you.
Damn.
I'm going to push you to the fullest extent.
I like that. We like that.
I do like that.
That is great, and that's a good way to look at it. And I love that you're not a casual, right? There's intent behind the work that you do. Now, Kris, what does that recovery look like for Mr. Jane Doe here?
He got his nutrition somewhat. You got your, we're going through GPP. We know we're getting some strength work.
So we know we're doing
with
that.
Because you're going to be beat up.
I have 2 kids. I might sleep 5 hours a day. And I think I pretty much eat pretty good.
Okay.
I'm okay with water.
Okay.
And I just sometimes just feel tired throughout the day.
Got it. So first thing I'm gonna have you do, Mr. Jane Doe, is track your life for a week. Right? So I want you to track your sleep. I want you to track your nutrients, what you eat, your water intake, and your activity intake for a week. I want you to try to map it out to what you're trying to do, eat what you normally eat, and then just bring me the information.
What are you looking for?
I'm just looking forward to understand who you are as a person.
History.
So I can tell who you are based on what you do. And based on you having 2 kids, based on you only getting 5 hours of sleep, I can tell that you're probably busy and that you're under-recovered and that your water intake is probably low as well. Because if you're dealing with fatigue, then you're probably lacking deficient in some area of vitamins. So before I go recommending you a bunch of stuff to take and a bunch of stuff to do, I need to understand who you are. But recovery is important. Recovery and training should be parallel. So you shouldn't work out more than you're recovering. They should be equal to each other. So you can't be under-recovered. So to get to this information, just like Mo is not going to give you a mile to do the first day of training, I'm not going to give you all the recovery modalities in the first day. I'm going to figure out which one best suits you and figure out which one optimizes you and get you the best results. Because I feel like recovery should be personalized to your needs. Now, if you can only get 5 hours of sleep, me trying to say you need to get 8 hours may be unrealistic.
That don't even sound
So
realistic.
I need to figure out how I can get the best out of your body in this 5 to 7 hour window. Figure out if I can sneak 30 minutes extra a day.
Is that why you take naps?
Then maybe why I take naps. Maybe if you can get a car nap in between your lunch.
That's making sense.
Get a protein smoothie for, lunch and then take a quick nap. That may be all you have time for. But I need to figure out what your daily life schedule is before I start to give recommendations.
So there's something very important that Kris just said there. He's tracking your history, right? Because you may answer a question there a certain way, but your body is going to say something else, right? And so by tracking his history and Mr. Jane Doe's history,
Yes.
my habits will expose me more than what I say, right?
Correct.
And then another thing that I'm hearing from this is that you have to train for your recovery. Just like you train for strength, just like you train for speed, you have to look at your recovery just as well like that,
Absolutely.
right? And so a lot of this is systematic through nutrition, sleep, through training, everything that we're discussing right now. So this is for Jane Doe, right? Now, Curtis, the engineer, like I know you work with some of the most world-class athletes. I mean, am I going,
Pop it.
should I pop it for you?
Pause.
I mean, come on, man. So is it Gervonta Davis? Yeah.
Tank.
Tank?
Said Tank.
Okay. Tank? Okay.
Tank Davis.
I'm gonna stop pretending like I didn't know that. Tell me, how does that look, especially when you got a world-class athlete. I know he already came in skilled. Like, what was that process for you? What were you trying to achieve? And what does that training look like? And are you having these same conversations with him about his goals and his nutrition and his recovery?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is first, you always want to do all of these things, right? But you also got to meet guys or girls, where they are in terms of what's going on in their life, how they train, when they train, where they train, and, what the goal is overall. So what we did was we start off with, all right, how far do you want to take this? How great do we want to be? Like, where do we see ourselves in the next 3 years or so, or 4 years or so? And once, we kind of identify that, we kind of break it down by asking why as many times as we possibly can until we really can't get the answer anymore. We start with, a joint by joint analysis and assessment. Kind of maybe we even do movement screens. And we even use like ball technology and things like that just to kind of track like power, just to kind of track, range of motion, and single leg strength, unilateral strength, bilateral strength, things of that nature, right? And tons of other things that we try to focus on. I'll speak with his team in terms of his coaches, and we'll create basically a program of what the week is going to look like, or what the entire fight camp is going to look like, or what the year is going to look like. So if you guys, noticed, the way that, we train, like, so he fought 2 times in 1 year, well, technically almost 3 times in 1 year. But what we did was we had to train him completely different those 2 times. For the first Garcia and then for the second Garcia, we trained him a little bit differently. I won't get into that too much, but
I got a question. Yeah. How do you prepare his body to take on like such vicious hits? Like, how do you get him ready for that? Or do you train him in agility standpoint to not get hit?
So just an emphasis on, his rotational power and also his agility. So those are some of the things that we wanted to focus on. So like in boxing, it's a hit and not get hit, right? Yeah. So a lot of that comes with, being able to just build up his lower body, being able to allow, to train the body like outside of the sagittal plane, focus on a lot of unilateral movements where we're working on the outside edges of the foot, lateral drills, where his body feels comfortable and he already knows this is the shit that we've been doing in practice or in the gym. And what I'm doing in the ring when punches are at my face, it's a second nature to me. So
now, outside of boxing and track and field, the like singular sports, I think basketball is the hardest sport to train for.
I agree.
Like, it's the hardest sport to like do in season.
That's just, absolutely. I'm biased, by the way.
Basketball is by far the toughest
sport.
Kris is biased as well. Absolutely. You can obviously see that we're biased.
Expound. Boxing is the hardest to me.
That's what I said outside of the single sport, like boxing or running 100.
MMA.
Nah. But my opinion is the reason why basketball is tough because you got to play so many games.
Okay.
And then you have to travel so much.
Mm-hmm.
7 states.
That portion of
like, okay, it's extremely tough.
Yeah.
They get in.
Now let's talk about the injury rate. Is it higher than boxing? I mean, obviously you're getting injured in boxing.
Die.
You get slapped around.
You don't get injured.
You not watch Creed?
You might
can die.
I might retract this statement, but I'm gonna go all the way in. I'm committed here. I feel like the injury rate is a little bit higher in basketball. It's a little bit
higher than what?
Then how often are you rolling the ankle or busting the knee?
Bro, basketball is so tough. Basketball is harder than football.
I mean, versus like football?
No. Yeah, absolutely. Football, you got more opportunities to get. No. Basketball.
No, I wasn't talking about football.
Has for sure has more injuries than basketball.
I was talking about fighting. Y'all saw what happened during the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
He just got excited and ran out and tore an Achilles?
Yeah.
Sheesh. Speedy recovery.
Yeah, that's
so
tough.
I think this was good for me to kind of get a good synopsis of it. I think when you think about training, right, I think what you were trying to allude to is I think boxing is a hard sport.
I agree.
Right? So Now, you're in the football field, right? And so I'm sure.
I'm not on the football field.
Well, you're not on the football field.
Flag football.
Flag.
He get active.
Yeah, you do.
I get active in flag football.
The Quavo celebrity game, I done seen him
You really him, bro. Like, we're just gonna acknowledge that. Your style of training, is it more Olympic? Is it a hybrid? What makes you great at what you do in your space?
From a weight room standpoint, it's a mixture. I learned a long time ago that you don't just use one type of programming, you know what I'm saying, or periodization when you're training. And most times, and that's just because in the private sector, you don't even see athletes long enough. Like if you have Tank and I have a track and field athlete, like our athletes that we can see or tennis year round, then you can really get into the nuts and bolts. But if I have a football player and I have for 4 weeks, your adaptations of me trying to do something, you know what I'm saying, it's something that's supposed to be on a 52-week cycle and I'm trying to do something. So it has to be some type of undulating program, high-low model. That's what I use as well for those guys in the weight room. So you just got to conjugate, mix it up. It's thematic, different days of the week, because you never know what these dudes gonna do. They can wake up and say, I'm going to Turks, and now you done messed up my whole.
I just came back from Turks.
You messed up my whole.
You look a little bit darker.
I am darker. I definitely got darker. Turks was beautiful.
Come on.
So but no, for their strength training, definitely mix everything, but I also take into account how much sprint volume I give my athletes. I have a high sprint volume, whether that be linear, curve linear, decel work. I do a lot of movement-based stuff with them, so you have to take that into account. Plyometric contacts, you have to take all that into account when building a strength program for these athletes, no matter how long you have them, and just blend all that together. I have some of the most in-shape athletes that you probably will meet because we fucking move around.
Talk to me.
We move.
There's not a specific model that you use. Everyone is different. There's an idiosyncratic approach to how you go.
Word you use there.
That was a big one.
Christ. Where did you get that word from?
I thought twice before saying that too. I'm about to feed Kris right now.
Feed the wolves.
Because Kris is quick to pop off. So Kris, is there a bad model of training? Is there bad training? What does bad training look like? What do you recognize when you see that?
I mean, I think there is bad training, but it's hard to tell bad training from a 15-second clip.
Yeah.
So I don't really look at like clips and be like, it's bad training. Sometimes I do, but it's really tough to look at.
Some shit is just easier to say, that's terrible.
Some shit is easy to
Give
look
me
at.
an example.
Like you putting a miniband around your ankles and running through a ladder is terrible.
Okay. Okay, I can see that. Has anyone made that mistake?
I'm sure they probably have.
At a young age.
There's a lot of, I can list them off, but I won't because somebody may be watching and they may actually do this shit. So I'll correct you later, not right now. But no, so I think it's tough to look at bad models from a 15-second clip. So I try not to judge them off that clip. But if I go to your page and you have 5 15-second clips of doing bad shit, I'm like, oh yeah, nah, I ain't got it. Or she ain't got it or whatever. And I think like, I don't necessarily want to say that you're a bad trainer just come from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
But I definitely want you to start to, because you have clients.
Yeah.
And if you can get people to do dumb shit, I think you're a good trainer.
But what if you can justify your programming?
That's what I'm saying. Like if you can get somebody to go outside right now, like if you say Jew, I think Jew loves you, I think he believes in you.
Yeah.
I don't think he would do dumb shit.
No.
But I believe that you have the capability of putting him through something that like he may not know if he's capable of doing. Like you told him last offseason, we gotta tape your mouth, we're gonna breathe through your nose. And I'm sure that shit was probably a little bit new for him, but he believes in you. Yeah. So if you were to tell him, hey, we're gonna put some mini bands around your ankles, we're gonna go get in the pool and we're gonna do some speed work.
I think he'll recognize
speed work in the pool.
I think he'll recognize that.
He may recognize it.
He might be like,
But if you can convince him to get into the pool with the bands on, I'm gonna look at it and say, damn, he a bad trainer.
Right.
Like that's a dumb exercise.
I mean, if we
But the psychological factor of you being able to get him in the pool and do it, that is kind of what we're like, and that's what we're good at.
it's a tricky one, right? Because I do believe that you don't know what you don't know until you know, right? And so, are there some people that aren't qualified, but they have good intentions? Like, how do we help? Here's the thing, because I'm never gonna be that person that's gonna kiki about somebody or be like, yo, this person's a bad trainer. My first reaction is, how do I help this person? Or how do I just have a conversation with this person and just pique their interest so I can learn a little bit? Because let me explain, because I started crawling on the ground. I started doing a lot of animal flow. I started making a lot of my clients do it. I'm pretty sure somebody could have looked at my page and was like, what is this
type shit?
going on the ground right here? All this breakdancing, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, how do we allow ourselves to have this grace, to have these conversations with trainers, but also create a community? And this is what this whole thing is about, is creating community for everyone to feel safe and have a space to where we're just helping people, right? Opposed to trashing on people, because there are some trainers
They do trash on people.
and I can't stand it.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna be real. Like,
Be real. Who's the person that you can't stand it? If you
We
want to
not-
be real, don't be half real. Be all the way real.
that's
Talk to
not
me,
my
please.
style. And if anyone got offended by it, then they know who they are. So I think it really comes down to,
I thought he was
That was a
going.
good one.
I'm not going there. We're not going there.
I think it was almost there.
You was almost there.
I felt C's almost be like, you know what?
What is our number one job? Service.
Yeah.
Service.
And
Absolutely.
not just our clients, but to our friends, our family, our faith, to other trainers. So my whole message is like, how do we service people? How do we help people? How do we help trainers get better?
Remove your ego.
Remove the ego.
Number one thing, when you're in this space and you're dealing with these elite athletes or you're dealing with general population, remove your ego. It's not about you, it's about them, because we are people of service. And you can't fully serve them if you only focus on self. So become selfless within the process of training. That would make your modalities 10 times better.
Ego is the enemy. And guys, I appreciate you for taking the time to listen to us. There was a lot of great information that happened today. We talked about wellness. We explained that it's a moving target. There's a lot of variabilities and variables to it to make sure that we can optimize and maximize anyone's performance. You learned our origin story. It was all over the place, which we're all for. Amazing. 4 of us. There's 4 of us.
4 total.
Yep, there's 4 total. There's 4 amazing trainers here that all came together just to help and educate, but not only just help to educate, but also to entertain some of you guys as well. So thank you for tuning in to the Untrained Podcast. Do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button, like our page, follow us. If you have questions, drop a DM. If you want to be on our podcast, please leave a DM. We're accepting all trainers, entrepreneurs, novelists, whoever you are. We would love to
I'm
talk to
taking a
you.
spot.
Till next time.
I've been overlooked. Untrained.
As a kid, what you're exposed to and what you experience molds you for who you are throughout life. And I've taken that attitude into athletics, into my professional career.
Okay, so this wasn't the first traumatic incident that happened to you. So, listen, I was born in Louisiana too.